to catch up.
Okay,
But
it's on record.
terrific. Hi, everybody. I also echo the welcome that Tammy has extended. We have worked in business together for many, many years. And so it's such a nice opportunity for me to get to share this Alaska information with you, and also the latest about the Medallion. So I'll go ahead and just jump right into it. Now, I will say this, I know some folks are going to be, eating dinner or preparing dinner during this time. If there's a question you have, there is a chat box there, and I'm going to ask if Tammy can just keep an eye on it. And then Tammy, if you see something that maybe you feel like we're going to eventually get to, or if you want to just jump in and let me know. Sometimes I get so engrossed in the presentation, I don't see the comments coming in, but I'll be happy to address any questions, etc. So before I change slides here, I just want to say you all are in great hands with Tammy McDaniel. As I say, we have worked together as a supplier and a travel advisor and business owner for a long time. So she has picked out something really terrific, which is one of our very best Alaska cruise tours. So I'm excited to tell you about it today. And, at Princess, we are very, very fortunate. We've been in business for about 55 years now. Almost all of that time, in some form or fashion, we have been bringing travelers to the great state of Alaska. So we really feel like the alliance is there between Princess as a company, Alaska as a state, the partnership and commitment. We are bringing people to the great land, and it's enriching people's lives, forever changed by what they see and experience between nature, wildlife, the beautiful mountain peak of Denali, which you see here in the distance. So it's just a great, great partnership. But for those of you that might not be as familiar, as I mentioned, Princess Cruises, we've been around for more than 55 years now. But when you take a look at the world map, essentially, if there's a country, a place that you would like to visit, chances are excellent that Princess has a cruise or a combination of a land, what we call a land and sea vacation, a cruise tour that can really take you to that in-depth exploration. So pick out any other place on the map, and Tammy can get you set up there as well. So today, what we're going to talk about, though, really essentially is Alaska, and just the amazing scenery and the fantastic opportunity. Sorry, the slides are a little wonky here, but what's important to know is, you take a look at all the different ways to travel to Alaska, lots of different cruise lines, lots of different options. But one of the reasons why Princess is #1 to Alaska, we take more travelers to the state of Alaska than any other cruise line. And in fact, we have really the ultimate opportunity to provide to you the best of a land-based trip. So on this particular trip that we're talking about, it's going to be a really great opportunity to start up in the north with Fairbanks, and then a little further south, go into the National Park of Denali, and then also the Denali State Park, and stay in 2 Princess-owned and operated lodges there. And then we'll take you on the beautiful rail journey down to the ship, and then the wonderful 7-night cruise. So we'll cover all the bases here in this next little bit. But basically, why do people want to go to Alaska? Well, I mean, first of all, you love travel, right? You have the travel bug. Most of us have been almost nowhere in the last 15 months or so. So that's why the anticipation of getting back to cruising, getting back to travel is so exciting. But for Alaska, a lot of it has to do with the visuals, the scenery. It's these beautiful glaciers and the beautiful glacial waters. Of course, all of the wildlife. You're going to see the big 5, hopefully, if they cooperate, right? Weather and wildlife are always 2 things very difficult to guarantee for certain in Alaska, but there's no doubt you travel throughout Alaska, and maybe some of you on this call today have been to Alaska before, but yet your heart is kind of calling you back. I've only been there 3 times myself, but we've been really focusing on Alaska for next year, because it is really the heart and soul of what we love and where we love to travel to. But it's also the beautiful mountain ranges, the entire Alaska mountain range, and then of course that great peak of Denali, the great one. and formerly known as Mount McKinley. But you know, the Native Alaskan people have always called it Denali, and the Great One is the translation. But at over 20,000 feet, it's the highest peak in North America. There is nothing more dramatic. And you know, for so many of us, we love to travel right here within our own country. We have so many beautiful places to travel to. And what's neat is if you love the national parks, you're going to love this trip, because not only will you see Denali National Park, but also we're going to talk a little bit about Glacier Bay, which is actually deemed as a national park, but it's that 700-mile of coastline in the glacial waters that are also a part of the trip. So you're going to see a combination of glaciers and mountains and amazing sights, and of course, journey on rail travel, but also the Alaskan seafood. There's really so much to it. But you know, for us at Princess, and this trip that we're talking about tonight really has to do with the land and sea vacation, what we call the cruise tour. And that's really designed to show you the best of Alaska. And so lots of different reasons to go to Alaska. Of course, the scenery will be astounding to you. You see this blue water here, this glacial blue water. Here we are in Glacier Bay, where these glaciers are literally, these ice chunks are literally calving or crashing into the water. The sound is thunderous. The sight of it is just amazing. But in the meantime, you're going to see the bald eagles of the air, the precious sea otters, whales, I mean, all kinds of amazing sights and wildlife. And so it's because of, again, as I mentioned, our commitment to the state of Alaska, the people of Alaska, and the way in which we do things that we've had such success over the years, and now with the brand new Medallion class experience. And for those of you that are not familiar, and I am going to get to this in a little bit more in depth, but this Medallion, this small coin-like device, is the new key to touchless, contactless travel that really unlocks for you a trip, a vacation, an experience that is so unique and personalized to you, with outstanding service all the way. And that's a big part of what we're doing with Medallion. But as I say, we're going to get into that a lot more. I want to talk about, first of all, the mechanics, the logistics of the trip itself. And then we'll go into a bit more about the ship, your beautiful ship, one of the newest in the fleet, Majestic Princess. What a great name for cruising in Alaska, right? And then we'll go into Medallion and other, you know, special offers and things like that. I want to just show you this map, because first and foremost, it has to do with, if you take a look at the right side of your screen, you see the coastal area of Alaska, the southeast portion of Alaska, what's known as the Inside Passage, and the best ports, Ketchikan, Juneau, Skagway. You're going to visit Hubbard Glacier and also Glacier Bay. So two beautiful glacier viewing experiences, also very unlike most cruise lines that travel to the area. So your cruise happens to be what we call a one-way cruise, because we can cover more ground. So you're going to be traveling actually in the reverse here, starting in Whittier, which is our port right on the Gulf of Alaska, outside of Anchorage, and then cruising eventually down to Vancouver. But before that, you're going to have a wonderful stay on land. This is a little bit more zoomed in view of where you're actually going to be going. Now, a lot of the cruise lines, and Princess has a couple of these departures weekly, but we have more ships that do the longer voyage that you're doing. So a lot of the cruise lines will go here out of Seattle and do this Inside Passage up to here and back again. What you're doing actually covers this additional segment here as you come down from up north to board your ship, an extra 500 miles that you're traveling along this beautiful coastline, and 2 glacier viewing experiences. So it's not only the best of the Inside Passage, but it's a much more comprehensive cruise that then will end in Vancouver. Okay, so the reason why we talk about North to Alaska, that's actually the name of our shipboard entertainment, educational, and enrichment program. So you're having a lot of interactions with people. You learn about the culture of the lumberjacks. You're going to see here in the center view, we actually have the state park rangers that board the Majestic Princess from these smaller pilot boats when you're in the middle of Glacier Bay here. So you can be out getting this, up on the top deck of the ship as the captain is taking the ship in just very, very slowly rotating circles throughout this entire huge area, so that no matter where your stateroom is on the ship, whether it's on the port side, the left side, or the starboard side, the right side, you could be out on your balcony enjoying the private views. It doesn't matter which side of the ship, you're going to be getting views, because that's how the captains are maneuvering through a lot of these. Some wider passageways, some are more narrow, but you're going to get great views nonetheless. But also a big part of the experience is understanding the local flavors, cultures, but always with experts leading you along the way. And that's why we at Princess have so many friends in Alaska that bring a lot of things to life. So first and foremost, for those of you that haven't been to Alaska before, these pups, these sled dog puppies, and as they grow, are like just the national treasure. These pups are bred to, first of all, be harnessed to sleds. Think about it this way. Not only is there an Iditarod race every March that goes between Anchorage and Nome, it's a 1,000-mile dog sled race. It's grueling for everyone, but these dogs are bred and trained for this incredible feat of athleticism. But remember too, in the state of Alaska, now we're there as tourists, right? Typically between May and September. It's a rather short season. It's what we would call our summer. But after things start shutting down toward the end of September, the days become a lot shorter. So you're not involved in the 22 hours of daylight, which is fantastic when you're traveling there. You get to see and absorb everything. The days become longer, and eventually most of the days are in darkness, and the temperature goes down and the snow falls, and the only way for people to travel around is by these sled dogs. So it's a very important part of their transportation methods, but you're going to learn all of this when you go to Alaska. Another very important part, and you're going to learn this also in Ketchikan, is one of the places where you have the opportunities to understand and learn about how the trees that are forested are actually carved by the Native Alaskan people and into what they call totem poles. And so all those intricate carvings and designs tell stories. And this is how they keep, legends alive and keep the folklore going. There's so much to do with storytelling in their culture. So you're going to see a lot of that, and you're going to understand the part that the totem poles play in that culture. But remember, these are all activities that we're bringing to life while you're on the ship. So you're going to go ashore with Tammy. She knows Alaska. She's been there. She's done it. So she's going to recommend some different tours that you'll take when you go ashore each day. But now there are days in between when you're going to be on the open waters and have time to just enjoy the ship. So the learning and the education goes on. This is Libby Riddles, and here's a little bit of a clipping of a newspaper segment, but you know what? She was the first female Iditarod winner, so she is also a national hero. But what's interesting is, you see the picture here on the right, she comes to the ship when we are in Juneau. A lot of times she'll bring some of the dogs and the puppies with her, so people really get that up close and personal experience. Something that's really fun too in Ketchikan, for those of you that know the show, The Deadliest Catch, this happens to be this ship that you see here that has been reconfigured for Princess, is called the Aleutian Ballad. So what we did was partner with this is Captain Lethen and his team, and all these the professional fishermen from the Aleutian Ballad. So they're all with Princess now. So you can have a tour. So it's not on the Bering Sea where the waves and the water is rough and the waves come crashing over the bow of the fishing boat. It's not like that at all. Super calm water. But we reconfigured the top deck of the boat so that there is a lot of this stadium seating. And so when they take the ship out, people can see and understand and experience a day in the life of the commercial fisherman. Of course, the Alaskan king crab is a big part of that experience. You get to see how these traps work. They tell great stories about their experiences. But also for anybody that does enjoy fishing from a personal perspective as a hobby, We have a program where in certain places or at certain lodges while you are staying on the land before you board the ship, that we can set you up with, the guide, the equipment and clothing, the fishing license and all the gear and all of that, and they'll take you out. So it's mostly salmon fishing. There's a little bit of halibut in certain areas. But the point of it is it's fun to do in Alaska. It's unique, it's different. But we also have a program called Cook My Catch, because ideally you'd like to catch some fish, right? But what do you do with them then? Well, you can have them through the outfitters, through the fishing programs, have it flash frozen and shipped back to home. So it arrives the day after you get home. Or we have a program called Cook My Catch. So if you wanted, you could enjoy that fish that you just caught today for dinner that night. So when you come back to the ship or to the lodge, our culinary staff will meet you with the clipboard that says, how would you like that prepared? What sides would you like with that? So it's really kind of a fun thing. And then, of course, a lot of people do ask about the Northern Lights in Alaska. And, the thing about that is, and there was an unusual situation, I think in 2019, where one of our captains, and some of these pictures were published in national publications, but they were able to see the Northern Lights in the middle of the summer, which was weird and unusual because, again, it's very bright during the day, almost all day long for the summer season, but they did get a little bit of a glimpse of the Northern Lights. Now, a lot of times people will experience that sometimes early season in early May when we first get started, or toward the end of the season, like the second and third week in September. It's a little bit unusual to have that in the middle of the summer, but there's a chance it certainly could happen. But that's why we have, as part of our onboard enrichment program, we have the Northern Lights experience. And so what we do is in our theater, this is Princess Theater, where we have a lot of the big production shows, but we also have a partnership with Discovery at Sea. And so they recreate, the Northern Lights and sort of what is the phenomenon of that and how does it happen? And so it's really interesting, informative, and people just absolutely love that. So this kind of gives you an idea of some of the activities. I mentioned the totem poles. Of course, there are some activities that are really adventurous. You can take a helicopter, say in Juneau, and land on the Mendenhall Glacier, or perhaps take a helicopter up to one of the dog mushing camps where there are literally 200 dogs and puppies and their handlers, their trainers that are up there. They spend the entire summer up there. They're training, they're teaching, they're practicing, where they harness them and then take off on the sleds. It's a remote situation, and they only come down from there maybe once a week to get provisions and whatever, but it's a neat way to interact with an authentic mushing camp. If you like zip lining, there's plenty of activity for that. There are some whitewater rafting opportunities and excursions, or something that I did a little bit more, I guess, mellow, is the float trip, where somebody's actually rowing this huge inflatable boat so that you can be on your phone taking pictures and videos and all of that. So that's pretty cool. There also is an opportunity. You see the train here. Now, these are not our Princess rail cars. You can see these are a little bit older. This is the historic narrow gauge. These are antique rail cars, and you have the opportunity to do this excursion in Skagway. So you can actually go up over the Continental Divide into the Yukon Territory. So now think of the other part of the experience as the gold rush of 1898. You're going to learn about the history of the gold rush and those pioneers and how they forged ahead. But this is kind of neat because it goes up and over into a portion of Canada in the Yukon. So that's really neat. I do want to just mention this photo here real quick. There is an Athabascan, so one of the native tribes of Alaska, an Athabascan village that you have the opportunity to visit. Now, these people are very resourceful. So if they go out hunting, whatever it is they catch, they're using the horns for the structure of whatever hide they may get to create some sort of a shelter or create some sort of a canoe or boat. But also the hides, the fur, they create into beautiful, very, very warm garments for themselves. And there is a woman who was featured, her items, including this beautiful, I think this is either her daughter or her granddaughter, but her items were featured at the Smithsonian in DC. And when she puts the hood up of that beautiful fur coat, you can imagine how the people are kept warm. So look, when they go out hunting or fishing, I mean, every part of that animal or fish is used for lots of different purposes. So it's really neat to see the daily life. But getting back to the cruise tour portion. So what is a cruise tour? It's a land and rail and sea experience. And really one of the number one reason, or the main reason I should say, why people are interested in traveling to Alaska on a cruise tour is their opportunity to see a beautiful national park in this country, and that is Denali National Park, the home of the Great Mountain. So that's kind of the sequence of events there. So what's unique also about this is you're going to fly into Fairbanks to begin. So you're going to stay at the Fairbanks Riverside Lodge. That's also a princess owned and operated lodge right on the river. It's our only lodge that's actually open year round. All the others are in more remote locations, but you'll see Fairbanks when you look at the map. It's almost right in the center there. So you'll stay there, and that's where the flights come into, and that's where the next morning after you arrive, you are going to be taken over to the a riverboat experience. So on the Chenna River, they have these authentic paddle wheelers, these stern wheeler boats, multi-deck, open deck boats that you're going along the river, and to your left and right, you're seeing how people live in Alaska, the local people, and they have a float plane or something in their backyard, like you or I might have a riding mower or a tractor or something like that. So it's very common because they are so remote, and that's how they get around. But it's, oh my gosh, you're going to love it. It's just, there are so many people that you'll meet along the way and things that you're going to see and experience. But one of the neat things too is now you can compare here, you can see our Princess rail cars pulled by the Alaska Railroad locomotive. That's how you're going to eventually make your way from the heart of Alaska up at Denali, straight down to the ship where you're going to arrive here. And then the luggage is going to be automatically transferred from the rail cars right onto the ship. And then later that day, the ship is going to set sail for the southbound journey. So I mentioned the big five earlier. So you have the moose, the bear, the Dall sheep, the caribou, and the wolf. Amazing creatures. Now, I don't know that you're going to get this close to them, but that's the beauty of having the National Park tour of Denali included in your package. And in fact, what Tammy has got set up for you. Now, most of our programs include the Denali Park tour. However, it's the shorter tour called the Wilderness Tour. Tammy's got you already upgraded to the 8-hour Tundra tour. That's the longer, better park tour. It goes quite a bit further into the National Park of Denali. So what does that mean for you all as visitors? You have better vantage points. You're going to see the mountain a lot better, and there's much better opportunities for wildlife viewing the further you go into the park. Now, this is a 6 million acre park. You're only going to be covering a 30 or 40 mile spans of that, but it's a great way to go using the longer park tour, which this is the one here, Tundra Wilderness Tour. So it's already, you don't have to worry about confirming it. It's already done for you. Now remember, these are eco-friendly school buses. I'm not saying they're uncomfortable, but it's not a deluxe luxury touring coach or anything like that. There is a little bit of a snack included, but what you all might want to do is order more of a boxed meal, sandwich, and that kind of thing, and other extras and a beverage. Tammy will help you with that, but you'll do that right at the lodge, the Denali Princess Lodge, day before, so that you can take that on the bus with you. We do make periodic restroom stops along the way, stop opportunities to get out, take pictures, things like that. And then the trains, I did mention to you a couple of different things. Now, the good news is you are going to be traveling on our direct to the wilderness rail, which is literally the one-way trip, either northbound or southbound, between the park itself and our ship, which is down on the coast. So you're going to have that service after you stay on land for 4 nights. On that last day, you're going to be getting on our direct rail service right south to the port and to the Majestic Princess. So only Princess has that nonstop point-to-point service, and that's really pretty neat. And we have the domed rail cars, so that's nice, so that you have that almost unobstructed view all around you. Now, this is not a bullet train. It's not going 200 miles an hour. It's just kind of, going down the track, so you can see and appreciate everything that's around you. Plus, we do have the food and beverage service cars for you to enjoy if you'd like to have a meal. And also, we have conductors, people that are giving you kind of the narrative. So taking the opportunity to point some things out to you as you're taking the rail trip. So it's really fun. I mean, there aren't a whole lot of opportunities in this country to take rail service. And really for this scenic, beautiful ride, that's going to be about a 5-hour train ride the day that you check out of your final lodge at the McKinley Princess Wilderness Lodge and go down to the ship itself. So it'll be a fun way to really start the next part of your journey. So here again, you can see when you stay here at the Denali Princess Wilderness Lodge, which you will be. So again, Fairbanks up here the first night. Then we're going to take you. Now this is motor coach in between when we're in this portion. Okay. Motor coach down to the Denali Princess Wilderness Lodge, about 1 mile to the entrance. The park entrance is in fact up here on the north side. So, and then here's the mountain itself. Then we're going to take you by coach down here to the other property, which is also within the Denali State Park. And that's the McKinley Princess Wilderness Lodge. Then you'll stay there for a night, and then that's where you'll take the rail service that brings you from right about here all the way down to here, where you're going to meet the Majestic Princess and then start cruising southbound this way. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about the Denali Princess Wilderness Lodge. I mentioned to you the Fairbanks Lodge, and it's a little bit more straightforward, not super fancy, certainly very clean and comfortable and very nice. Again, it's almost the crossroads of the heart of Alaska, so you've got a lot of people traveling to and from, basically for some for business, working in the state, and then others for leisure travel. But when you get to our purpose-built wilderness lodges, you're really going to be amazed by the architecture and how beautiful they are and how things just fit into the scenery. So after you leave the Fairbanks Princess Lodge, you go on the riverboat Discovery on the Chenna River. Then we're going to bring you about 2.5 hours south to the Denali Princess Wilderness Lodge. So we call it a campus style setting. And what's amazing is for 663 rooms, it's actually the largest hotel, largest occupancy hotel in the state of Alaska, but it's not built that way in a high rise. What you see here is actually the main lodge, where we have our front desk and a couple of other kind of grab and go casual restaurants and things like that. But once you go through here and out the back door of this building, you see the entire area of everything that is the Denali Princess Wilderness Lodge. So you have many, many 2- and 3-story buildings all around where the rooms are, but then you're going to get to the different fire pits and Fanny Q's saloon. Fanny Q was a local legend. She was a wonderful, hospitable person that loved to bake and cook for people as they traveled through the area during the history of the gold rush. So decided to name our latest little saloon and bar and restaurant area after Fanny Q. But you can see how beautiful the rooms are set up, very lodge-like, and so you really do feel like you're in the heart of the wilderness. The other thing too is there will be other hotels and properties that you'll see along the way. The Denali Princess is located at the entrance to a major national park in this country, less than a mile away. Lots of activity going on there, lots of hustle and bustle. You see a lot of people coming in and out, and because it's right near the entrance to the park itself. But the location is beautiful on the river. You might even see whitewater rafters coming by, but if you love any kind of photography, or just if you want to go outside and read a book or journal or whatever, it's really inspirational to be there overlooking the river. Here are a few other things. We have the outdoor fire pits where you can then roast marshmallows. Here's Fanny Q's saloon. So a very casual setting, but kind of really fun and just a neat atmosphere. This aerial setting really gives you a good idea. See what I said about all the different buildings throughout? So it's not just one giant hotel, it really blends into the area. And then of course, overlooking the River Gorge here. And then we'll take you down to the McKinley Princess Wilderness Lodge, which is again within the state park. And now very, very different, much more remote. You're almost in the treetops here. There is nothing else around. The local town, and where we're eventually going to bring you back to the rail depot at Talkeetna, is about 45 minutes away. So now you are as if in the treetops here. The reason why we built this particular property on the south side of the park, it's not anywhere near the entrance, so you're not actually traveling into the park when you're here, but the views of the mountain itself are stunning from here. So you could sit out on the back patio area in the morning, have your coffee or hot cocoa or whatever, and you sit in these comfortable chairs and you're looking up into the mountain range. So it's really beautiful. But because it's more remote, we have a lot more activities right on site. The Hudson Theater, you talk to a lot of the climbers, and we show a video about the hikers and climbers who have registered and attempted some successfully to climb the mountain. So you get a lot of that feel, and also beautiful outside, fireside patio and things like that. We also have the treehouse. Treehouse Masters from, I want to say it was Discovery or History Channel. So they built us a beautiful adult treehouse where we have sappy hour every afternoon, where we're creating mocktails from the sap that comes from the trees. And it's just a fun little place to explore that kind of thing. Here it is. And so you see, we also have the park rangers that talk about in the Hudson Theater, all of those people that, because this is the area where people actually register their ascent. If they're going to climb the mountain, this is where they go to Talkeetna in this area. So you see, you've got a lot of different aspects of Alaska, from the Native Alaskan culture to the lumberjacks, to all of the sled dogs and the puppies and the breeders and the people that run the Iditarod. And then of course, just again, history, culture, and then all of those initial famous pioneers and people that really put Alaska, which then eventually became a state, on the map, and a lot of exploration by plane. And so it's, Alaska is very much an active outdoor adventure. So be thinking of it in that way. It can be as active as you want it to be, but I think Tammy's going to have a lot of good suggestions for you in each place that the ship stops along the way, and the lodges and such. Some people ask, what are the temperatures and all that? Some people say, I don't care for snow. Well, typically it wouldn't be snowing there. But really what we're talking about, let's see, for this time frame in August, yeah, the weather is beautiful up at the park. The average high is 65. So think spring, okay? Think spring, and it's going to be perfect, because you know how scorching and humid the temperatures are normally at that time of year from where you all are from. And I'm here in Atlanta, so I totally understand that. And then, of course, along the water, sometimes the temperatures, this is in Juneau, average daytime high 63. Of course, the difference is it's a lot warmer temperature-wise on land. So when you're taking the tours and all up in Denali, it'll be much warmer. Once you get to the ship and you're in those glacial waters, the air temperature is quite a bit cooler. So look, it doesn't take up any room in the suitcase. If you wanted to bring some gloves and a hat just to keep you warm, and a jacket that would be fairly weatherproof, maybe some kind of a puffer coat that you might pack. But basically, wildlife viewing and fishing is perfect during that time. So it's really, I think she picked a real good time. Okay, now what I'd like to do is, let me just check. I see one comment. Oh, Tammy. Oh, it'll be her 4th time to visit. Great. Oh, and she's seen the Northern Lights. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Tammy. So I want to give you a little bit more of a tour now of Majestic Princess. And basically, people are asking about buffets. This happens to be World Fresh Marketplace. Well, rather than self-serve now, this particular area is going to be cook to order food stations where you're going to be placing an order, and then the food will most likely be brought to you or presented to you. So you're not actually dishing it out yourselves. There are so many things in terms of protocols and all that we're still going by CDC requirements and everything. Of course, this particular trip is still more than a year away. Princess has not actually resumed service yet. In fact, no cruise line has resumed service out of the US yet, but we are all working and complying with CDC and HHS to make that happen soon. So, a lot of the protocols and all are yet to be seen, but from what I'm hearing, I mean, for our Alaska season, again, we're talking a year from now, things are going to be looking quite a bit better. But again, let me just go on with a little bit of the tour here of the ship, our atrium. Princess ships are known for being very open and spacious. And then you have all these, we have different bands and things that are entertaining right here in the atrium area, and then different bars and lounges and the pizzeria and all different things. So it's all really a nice wide open space and easy to find your way around the ship. Of course, the dining rooms are all beautiful. You may have just seen our most recent announcement. We are moving away from, in other words, anytime dining. So just show up wherever you want, whenever you want, because on the app, and when I get to the Medallion section, I'll talk to you about our newest feature called Dine My Way, which is perfect when you want to make reservations for yourselves and your traveling companions, or in this case, the whole group. Tammy can do that, where there will be tables reserved just for your group and everything will be spread out so you all can be together, and even have things well arranged. So there's never any lines standing outside the dining room. Those days are gone. What we want to do is make the most of your time, which is very precious. So nobody wants to be standing on line, right, on a ship waiting for something. So it's all a very organized system that we are about to launch here. But the Majestic Princess has various alternative dining and specialty dining rooms. Everything is just really beautifully done. And our staff who are just now starting to return to different ships so that we can start working with the protocols and all. So they're really excited because they have been waiting to return to work for quite some time. But those of you that have cruised with Princess before, I think you know that we hire people persons. In other words, they're very people-oriented, very service-oriented. They already come to us hired as very well-trained individuals in service and hospitality and all of that. But they're really in tune to making sure that people are enjoying themselves. And if there's something you need, they're glad to take care of that. In case you're wondering, Princess Live is like a small little studio where we do a lot of the fun games, trivia games and things like that. This happens to be a bar and lounge area just outside of the studio there. But jazz, music all over, different kinds of music, and just casual things to do. Of course, the spa, if you like to treat yourself to that. This is the Enclave. So this is like a thalassotherapy pool, and you'll be able to purchase a pass for the week so that you can use all of the facilities of that. And then, of course, individual spa appointments, or if you wish for that. And then we have the sanctuary. So this is the adults only area. And if you've been to Las Vegas and you've seen how they've had the poolside cabanas, it's a similar concept. So you're reserving a poolside cabana that has waiter service, as well as big screen TV, mini fridge, the whole thing. And of course, your reserved chairs. So it's kind of a nice, relaxing place. But Princess is known for movies under the stars. So even during the brightest sunlight during the day, this is a high definition LED screen, more than 300 square feet. And then the surround sound system, so that, and here what we'll do is, like during the day, we might show things from Discovery Network or Animal Planet, especially in Alaska, because there's so much that, we want to show you about wildlife and all of that. And then picking your stateroom. This is a typical balcony stateroom. So where you have the floor to ceiling sliding glass door to go out and sit outside. We also do have mini suites. So they are almost 100 square feet larger because the bathroom of the mini suite is also larger. But here, if you're traveling with others, or maybe you want to have friends in, this has a larger seating area. So a full-size 8-foot sofa, sitting area, which also is a double sleeper. But there's another TV there too. So 2 TVs. So it really is a big leap from a balcony to a mini suite. But we also, I should mention, we also have something that's a little bit in between called a deluxe balcony. And so what that is, it's a smaller love seat sofa. So it's not, the cabin is not as big as this, because this is a mini suite, which is another level up. But the deluxe balcony is also a nice accommodation if you want to have a little bit more room to sit and relax. But of course, main swimming pools and hot tubs. But now we're going to get to the Medallion part, okay? So the Medallion has a lot of different features. And so what I want everyone to do, and you can do this before you even make your reservation, but you're going to go to your smartphone, your device, and download the Medallion Class app. And it's that blue logo with the princess logo, and you'll see that. And so that is what you'll need to fill out some information once you have your reservation all set. And then we send you the Medallion. So you'll order the Medallion. We'll send that to you a couple weeks before departure. But once you arrive at the terminal, the Medallion is personalized to you. It synchronizes with the 75 miles of cable on the ship and within the ship's terminal. And then with the information that you've provided on the app, it will, okay, well, let me tell you about the first thing that it will do. All right, first, people love this, whether they're traveling with the kids or the whole family, find your shipmates. So in other words, you'll have free texting capabilities to everyone within your traveling party. You can link your accounts together so that you can say, hey, I'm at Princess Live, or I'm at the Princess Theater for the show, come on in, or I'm waiting for you, I have a seat reserved, or that kind of thing. But also it does allow for wayfinding too. So maybe you're not familiar with the Majestic Princess, although it's laid out it's very easy to find your way around, but you can actually find your shipmates and it will show, oh, they're on deck 7 forward. And so you'll say, oh, they're already there waiting outside the Princess Theater for me. So it actually does allow you to, and it will show you the way. Okay, so then we also have lots of games. A lot of it is for points and for fun for all ages. However, we do have a new program that you can actually wager for money on these games on this platform. So you don't even have to be in the casino. You could be out on the open deck space in Glacier Bay on the cruise and be, still playing blackjack and whatever. So it is kind of neat. But one of the biggest features that people absolutely love now is essentially having whatever you need delivered to wherever you are. Look, this couple here is enjoying, maybe they're in Glacier Bay, who knows? And they say, you know what, it would be nice to have a glass of wine or a bottle of wine. So she probably went on her smart device there and said, place the order, bottle of wine. And so the order goes to the nearest bar or pantry area, or if they're ordering food, it just depends on, it's like the Uber Eats of the high seas. So they get the order. And then it says, and then there's a ship that goes across your screen. It says your order has been received, your order is being processed, and then your order is being delivered. So how does our wait staff know? She hasn't actually interacted with anybody. She's just placed the order. They know where these folks are because, see, they're wearing their medallions, and he has a device that's kind of basically showing him the way to where they are located. And so talk about service, talk about not waiting online or not getting up out of your comfortable chair, enjoying every moment of your cruise. And this is an on-demand food and beverage program. There's no charge to deliver the food. People often ask, what if I don't have a smart device? What if I don't want to use my phone? That's okay. In that case, you can simply call over one of our crew members. They will place the order and then they'll be back with the order. But it's just wonderful service and people love it. This is what the app, a few of the pages will look like once you download this. And it's called Ocean Now. So it's the on-demand food, beverage, and more. Okay. So here you see burgers and hot dogs. What condiments would you like? Would you rather see the kids menu? Do you want to see what sandwiches we have? Or here, do you want a soft drink, a Bloody Mary? Do you want extra olives with that, or a celery stalk? Do you want juices? You know, so it's all right there for you to order and customize. Now, somebody said, hey, I would like a robe to use on the ship, or I need a couple of extra pillows. Boom. Somebody, whoever's the closest, is right there and able to deliver that to you. So I sort of think of it as people are able to cross out of their swim lanes. So they're not just focused on, well, my duty is, or my responsibility is. Now, what it does is it allows these people to really shine and just provide you all great service without any barriers or obstacles to do so. So it is a really, really neat thing. You know, and that's Medallion class. And, you know, a lot of people do ask, though, I will say, you know, is it waterproof? Sure, you might go in the hot tub or whatever the case may be, but it's basically designed as an innovative program so that it just makes life so much easier. And think of it this way, everything's about like contactless and all of that now. This was launched in 2017 at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas in January, and we won the award that year for most innovative technology. But can you imagine now, I mean, the fact that now it's so useful and applicable, and this was way before the pandemic. So what it does is, as I mentioned, you download the app, you have your medallions, you arrive at the ship, our staff member is greeting you saying, okay, you checked off, you know, all the requirements. Well, what happens now? You go right to the ship. Remember what it used to be like? Well, now go stand in this other line and sit and wait until you know, get to the counter so we can go make your key card, that credit card-like device. That's a thing of the past now. You've already got yourself all set up. As a matter of fact, go right on board, go right to your stateroom. The door will unlock when you are in front of your own stateroom. It even has a little welcome sign. And here you can use, you've got your hands full of carry-on, you just push your elbow down and go right in, find your friends all over the ship, play games. It's all powered by the most reliable Wi-Fi at sea, and that's what we call Medallion Net. So it originally started with the huge investment in ship Wi-Fi. A lot of you know that have been cruising a long time. Ship Wi-Fi left something to be desired. So that's why the initial investment was to get that Wi-Fi up and running. But now anything you want, whenever you want it delivered. For those of you that don't have a personal device, that maybe you don't want to carry your phone, we have all of these touch screens all over the ship, or you even have one in your own stateroom if you want to look and see what's today's program, or where is my family, or you want to text, or whatever it is. So it's all right there. And then some of the new things that we're doing, you're going to have touchless embarkation and staggered arrivals. So everyone will come in at a specific time so that you can literally relinquish your luggage, go through security, get the okay to go on board, and head right on in. No more sitting around what looked like kind of like a bus terminal before. It's just, you're just kind of walking through to get right on the ship. But now even the safety drill, there's no more sitting there for an hour listening to a lecture. You know, now you're just going to review the safety video on your device and then check that you have viewed it. And then you're just going to go and check in with a staff member at your particular muster station to demonstrate that you know the way there. And that's it. It's at your convenience, and it doesn't kind of take up time during your vacation. So of course, touchless payments and order food and beverage on demand, but you can also see real-time capacity in the different show lounges, or maybe in the different bars. And then where reservations might be required, that's where you'll be able to make reservations as well for events, but then also for the Dine My Way feature. So anyway, go to Apple Play or Google Play or the App Store, but you'll see it looks like this. Welcome to Medallion Net. Once you, or Medallion Class, once you have your reservation, you'll be able to proceed with the rest of it. But yes, every guest gets one of these. They're free. So it's personalized, and that's a part of the requirement with your name, the ship and sailing date. So you get a new one every time you cruise, because of course that information is going to be different each time. Oh, this is kind of the up close version of it. But say some of you I know are elite platinum, elite captain circle. In other words, you've been with us many, many times. So your medallion would be black in color. If it's your 4th or 5th cruise, that means you're ruby. So it would be red. If you're your first timer, it would be blue, and so on and so forth. So this way we can also, our staff can also welcome you back and recognize you for your loyalty. So that, again, they arrive a couple weeks before you would head to Fairbanks, of course. And basically, you'll see here the check-in process, so simple, and it's going to be a huge game changer. Now, in case you're wondering, it sounds familiar like the Disney Magic Band, right? The man, the engineer, the chief technical engineer that created this is John Paget, and he used to work for Disney. He works for us now. So he and all of his IT people have created this. Here, even the safety video, they just arrived in the cabin. This looks like probably a mini suite here. So they have the full-size sofa. They decided, well, let's quickly review the safety video, and then we can go off and start exploring the ship. Now, some of you are wondering about airfare. Princess has amazing airfares, one-way pricing, which will be helpful for you. So it will be from your home city into Fairbanks, and then you're going to fly back from Vancouver back to your home city. That's okay. We have great, great prices. But we won't have air access until about 330 days prior to your return date. And Tammy will get with you on all of that. But it's very easy to add on our airfare. Great schedules. Essentially, you pick the schedule, and then we have different prices. What's the most convenient schedule might be a little bit more than the least expensive fare, but you have different ways that you can search all of that. And then for anybody interested, because we know it's a big investment, once you make your reservation and give Tammy your deposit, you can sign up for Easy Pay. It doesn't cost anything. There's no finance charges, but essentially it's an auto monthly payment on that same credit card. So it splits up the remainder of what you owe, will charge you automatically, and it does send you an email before it does so, charge you automatically once a month, that even amount, so that you're completely paid in full before you go. For those of you that have served, are serving, have retired, veterans, etc., we do salute your service, and we thank you, and we appreciate what you've done. And so on this particular cruise, because it's a 7-day cruise, you would receive, for all eligible individuals, so you're going to provide Tammy with the DD-214, it's $100 shipboard credit, so you can spend that money on board as you wish. And then last but not least, of course, the pricing does include the beverage package, which is soft drinks, bottled water, smoothies, milkshakes, mocktails, wine by the glass, spirits, cordials, beer, all of our specialty lattes. So basically everything's included from a beverage perspective. You also do have unlimited Wi-Fi, 1 device per person, as well as the gratuities paid on your behalf. So it's all, it says $40 per day there, but actually that pricing includes that as part of the cruise fare. So that's our way of kind of another way of making things a lot easier for everybody, to make things more included. So on behalf of what will eventually be our return to 26,000 employees on all of our various ships all over the world, and our staff at headquarters and the whole sales team, including people like me, we thank you. Thank you very much for working with Tammy's Journeys. They are an amazing agency with a wealth of experience, and really their #1 priority is to take good care of all the details so that you can just enjoy your trip. But we say thank you very much to everybody. And I'm going to stop sharing, Tammy, and just see what perhaps what questions may have come in.
Well, I've been actually, making comments and all that. And also, as we get closer to go to the sailing date, I'll be adding more tips. Just to let you know, one thing, we will be having another presentation for this cruise tour, because the Fort Walton Beach Chamber has basically wanted to promote this trip. So what we're going to do is have another presentation, and the chamber wants to have it at the conference room. So if you want to see this again, it'll still be part webinar, but I will be there right there at the chamber conference room. So I put that on there on to save the date, June 16th. It's Wednesday at 5 p.m. at the Fort Walton Beach Chamber. If you want to join us again, just give us a call Monday through Friday from 10 to 4 RSVP, and we'll put you down. We'll have refreshments there as well. But this will give you another opportunity to go through this program again, as well as answer questions, or if you have any friends or family that you think that might want to join us, this will be a great opportunity. Also, we are going to have, you know, any promos that are going on or whatever, we will give you that opportunity to take advantage of any current promos that are going on. So there's always something good. And if there's a question I have, that's where my relationship with Monica comes into play. And if there's anything that I'm not sure about, she'll answer the questions. The most wonderful part about this cruise tour is the fact that once we add the drinks, the gratuities, and the Wi-Fi, gosh, you know, that you used to in the old days have to pay for all this separately, but having this all included is just a great thing. The cruise tour is wonderful because everything is included in the cruise tour. There's only a couple times that, and I will mention this later, that you might want to have a few extra dollars, and that's when you take the Tundra tour. Your national park guide, or I wouldn't say he works for the national park, but these wonderful, knowledgeable guides that you'll have on your buses. At the end of that trip, you might have, you want to give them a gratuity, you for sure, because it's just the history. They point out the animals for you. So the tip is that they have these powerful binoculars, and those binoculars actually hooked up to a video system inside the bus. So there were 2 or 3 times I could see with my binoculars, I could see what he's talking about, but I took a picture of the video screen of that animal, so it looked like I was right there. So you can, get back and say, I saw the bear. I saw the bear from a long distance using my binoculars, but I got to take a picture of the bear that we were looking at on the screen, the video screen on your bus. So that's a great thing. And then the other gratuity that I think, is your train. So the guide that's telling you all about what you're seeing on that train ride, save a few dollars because it's well worth giving them a gratuity for everything that you see on that train. But we're lucky because since I've been on this a cruise tour 3 times, this is the best value for the train from Talkeetna down to the pier. This is the longest train ride. And believe me, I've taken it by bus, and you don't want to take it by bus. You want to, from Denali Park down to the pier, it's torture. It's like 8 hours on the bus, basically. So Talkeetna is about 6 hours. So there'll be about a 6-hour bus ride if we were to take this from Talkeetna down to the pier. So you're going to love it. This is the best value, I think, of the trip. And that's one reason I picked this, because I've done everything at different stages of the train. And to me, hands down, from Talkeetna down to the pier, you'll like it, because it's really kind of cool. Because when you get to Whittier, they have these, it's like a canvas, so like a walkway. So you get off the train and there's just that walkway that takes you right, to the terminal, and then you get right on the ship. It's wonderful, believe me. And like I said, I mentioned Northern Lights because I've been in August and September both. And both the times I was there, I was able to see, not great, but to say that I actually got to see the Northern Lights. So you do have the opportunity. There is an app available that you can download, and then that gives you an opportunity to say, hey, the best time to see the Northern Lights on this day is this time. And believe me, I was out there, taking a look and making sure that I got, to see the Northern Lights. If you have a good camera, wow, the people that had the really good, expensive cameras, they got some really great pictures of the Northern Lights. So if you do have a camera, that's a good reason to, bring it along, as well as binoculars. So gosh, I could, the good news is I'm going with you. I'll be able to help you with making suggestions of short excursions. The medallion experience is great because that'll actually keep us more together. If you don't want to be with us, then, at least I can tell you where we're going to be, but it doesn't mean that you have to be with us. But what it does is this medallion experiences helps us stay connected as a group. So you can be disconnected if you want to, but the main thing is that you can be connected to us at all times with this medallion experience. So that's another great thing as a group leader to have this feature. Um, so if there's not any more questions, what I'm going to do is